It's 3:07 in the morning. The house is quiet. The street outside is quiet. Your partner is breathing softly beside you, and yet here you are, eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling, heart beating just a little too fast for no reason you can name. You didn't have a bad dream. You didn't drink too much water before bed. You're not in pain. You're just awake. Sharply, strangely awake. And if you're honest with yourself, this isn't the first time. It's been happening for weeks, maybe months, maybe years. You've probably told yourself it's stress, or age, or one of those things that just starts happening after 60. Maybe your doctor shrugged and mentioned melatonin. Maybe a friend told you to cut back on caffeine. And still, night after night, somewhere between 1 and 3 in the morning, your eyes snap open like an alarm clock has gone off inside your body. Here is what almost no one tells you. That specific window, roughly 1 to 3 a.m., is not random. In traditional Chinese medicine, that window has been mapped for over 2,000 years as the liver's peak working hours. And in modern hepatology, doctors now know that overnight is exactly when the liver does its heaviest cleanup work, filtering blood, breaking down yesterday's medications, processing hormones, regulating blood sugar so your brain doesn't panic in the middle of the night. When the liver is healthy, all of that happens quietly. You sleep straight through. When the liver is overworked, inflamed, or sluggish, that quiet work turns into a struggle. And your body has one very old, very reliable way of telling you something is off during that struggle. It wakes you up. Not with pain, not with a warning label, just a sudden, unexplained alertness at the same strange hour night after night. Now here's what makes this so easy to miss, especially after 60. The people most affected are not heavy drinkers. They're not people who look sick. They're regular Americans in their late 50s, 60s, 70s. People who eat what their generation was taught to eat. People who take 3, 4, 5 prescriptions a day. People who never once thought their liver could be the reason they can't stay asleep. And that is the part that should get your attention. Because a struggling liver in older adults almost never announces itself with dramatic symptoms first. It whispers. It whispers through your sleep, through your mood in the morning, through a strange bitterness in your mouth when you wake up, through fatigue that coffee can't seem to fix anymore. Panic is not the answer here, but attention is. Because if your body has been waking you up at 3 a.m., it may already be trying to tell you something. And the question worth asking next is one almost no doctor will bring up on their own. You've probably done exactly what a responsible person is supposed to do. You went to your doctor. You mentioned the sleep problem. Maybe you even mentioned the exact time you keep waking up. And what happened? They ordered a basic blood panel. A few days later, someone called and said the words you've heard 100 times before. Everything looks normal. And that is where the trail goes cold for most people over 60. Because here's something almost no one explains to you in that appointment. The standard liver tests your doctor runs, the ones with letters like ALT, AST, and ALP, are excellent at catching liver damage. They are not designed to catch liver strain. There is a difference, and it is a very important one. Damage is what shows up after the liver has been struggling for months or years. Strain is what's happening right now, tonight, while you're lying awake at 3 a.m. By the time those enzyme numbers rise enough to alarm a doctor, the organ has usually been quietly overworked for a long, long time. Studies have shown that a person can lose a significant portion of healthy liver function before routine blood work reflects it. That is not a flaw in your doctor. That is a limitation of the test itself. So when your blood work comes back fine, what it really means is nothing has broken yet. It does not mean everything inside is calm. It does not mean your liver isn't working overtime while you sleep. And it certainly does not explain why your eyes keep opening at the same hour every night. There's another reason this gets missed. In a 15-minute appointment, sleep complaints get filed under one of 3 easy folders: stress, aging, or a prescription for a sleep aid. Almost no primary care visit connects a sleep pattern to an organ. There isn't time. There isn't a billing code for it. And frankly, most medical training in this country focuses on treating disease, not reading the early whispers before disease shows up. Meanwhile, your body has been telling a more detailed story. The bitterness on your tongue in the morning, the way certain foods sit heavier than they used to, the stubborn belly weight that won't move no matter what you try, the mood that feels flatter, more irritable, without a clear reason. These aren't separate problems. In many older adults, they are chapters of the same story. And the 3 a.m. wake-up is often the loudest chapter. You are not imagining this. You are not being dramatic. You are noticing something real that the system around you simply isn't built to catch early. Which brings us to the next question, and it's the one that changes everything. If the liver really is behind this, What exactly is it doing at 3 in the morning that pulls you out of sleep so sharply? Because once you understand the mechanism, you will never look at your nighttime waking the same way again. Most people think of sleep as a shutdown, lights off, body off, brain off. But inside your body, the opposite is happening. While you sleep, your liver is at its busiest hour of the entire day. It is not resting, it is working. Think of your liver as the night shift of a very large factory. During the day, it handles whatever comes in. The coffee, the medication, the eggs, the sandwich, the glass of wine, the pain reliever you took after lunch. It processes, it sorts, it filters, but it saves the heaviest, most delicate work for the hours when you're finally still. That work begins to peak somewhere around 1 in the morning and runs hard until about 3. During that window, your liver is doing 4 things at once. It is filtering your blood, pulling out toxins from everything you ate, drank, breathed, and swallowed in the last 24 hours. It is breaking down old hormones, the leftover cortisol, estrogen, and insulin your body no longer needs. It is metabolizing every medication still active in your system, and it is quietly releasing stored sugar into your bloodstream, drip by drip, so your brain has fuel to run on until morning. When the liver is healthy, that release of sugar is smooth and steady. You never feel it, but when the liver is overloaded, too many toxins, too many medications, too much sugar from the day before, that steady release gets shaky. Blood sugar can dip too low in the middle of the night, and when your blood sugar drops while you're sleeping, your body does not politely wait until morning to fix it. It sends out a burst of cortisol and adrenaline to pull sugar out of storage fast. Cortisol and adrenaline are the same hormones your body uses when you're startled. When they surge at 2:47 in the morning, you don't stay asleep. You snap awake, heart faintly racing, mind suddenly alert, sometimes with a strange sense of dread you can't explain. That is not stress. That is chemistry. That is your liver waving a small flag in the dark. There's more. An overworked liver also struggles to fully process the day's inflammation. Inflammatory signals build up overnight, raising your core body temperature slightly. That's why so many older adults describe waking up warm, sometimes sweating, sometimes throwing off the blanket around that same hour. It's not just hormones. It's your internal thermostat reacting to a liver that's running behind. And here is the part that quietly matters most. This process repeats every single night. If your liver is under pressure tonight, it will be under pressure tomorrow night. The wake-ups don't stay the same either. Over months, they get earlier, they get sharper, the sleep in between gets thinner, and the fatigue you feel by the afternoon starts to feel less like tiredness and more like something heavier. Once you understand this, other symptoms you've been ignoring start to line up, and they line up faster than you might expect. Now that you understand what your liver is doing at 3 a.m., something else starts to make sense. The wake-ups are not the only signal. They are simply the loudest one. There are others, quieter ones, signs your body has been giving you for years that almost everyone brushes off as normal aging. Let me walk you through them, because you may recognize more than one. The first is a bitter or metallic taste in your mouth when you wake up. Not morning breath, something sharper, something almost like copper or old coffee sitting on your tongue. Many people brush their teeth twice and it still lingers into the first cup of coffee. That bitterness often points to bile, the fluid your liver produces, backing up slightly overnight instead of draining smoothly. It is one of the earliest signs of a sluggish liver and gallbladder, and it is one of the most consistently ignored. The second is a dull ache or tightness under the right shoulder blade, or just below the right side of your ribs. Not a stabbing pain, more like a heaviness. Something you might blame on your pillow, or on sleeping funny, or on an old shoulder problem. But the liver sits directly under the right rib cage, and it shares nerve pathways with the right shoulder. When the liver is congested or inflamed, that referred tension is often the first place it shows up in the body. The third is itchy skin, especially at night. Not from dry skin, not from laundry detergent. A deeper, restless itch, sometimes on the arms, sometimes on the lower legs, sometimes just a general crawling sensation that makes it hard to settle. When the liver isn't clearing bile salts efficiently, those salts can build up under the skin, and they itch. Doctors call it cholestatic itch, and it is one of the more overlooked liver signals in older adults. The fourth is dark, tired circles under the eyes that stay no matter how much you sleep. You've probably tried creams. You've probably tried more water. Nothing really touches it. That specific under-eye shadow, especially the yellowish or brownish tint, has been linked in traditional practice to liver strain for centuries, and modern research is beginning to catch up. The fifth is a sudden intolerance to foods you used to eat without a second thought. Fried foods that now sit in your stomach like a rock. A cheeseburger that leaves you bloated for hours. Cream in your coffee that suddenly gives you discomfort. This is not just getting older. A struggling liver produces less bile, and without enough bile, your body cannot properly break down fats, so the fats sit, and you feel it. The sixth is brain fog after meals. That heavy, cloudy, slow feeling that settles in an hour after eating. Many people call it a food coma, but when it happens consistently, especially after heavier meals, it often reflects a liver that is overwhelmed trying to filter what just came in. If 2 or 3 of these sound familiar, this is not coincidence. These signs don't appear out of nowhere. Something is feeding them, and the something is usually hiding in plain sight, inside habits you've been told are perfectly normal. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Most of what overloads an older adult's liver is not something dramatic. It is not heavy drinking. It is not junk food binges. It is a collection of small, ordinary, seemingly harmless habits that add up night after night. And because they look so normal, almost no one questions them. Let me walk you through the ones that matter most. The first is late dinners. Somewhere along the way, eating at 7 or 8 in the evening became normal in America. For a younger body, that's manageable. For a body over 60, it's a problem. Your liver needs about 3 hours of quiet, empty digestion before it can shift into its overnight cleanup work. If you finish dinner at 8 and go to bed at 10, your liver is still processing your meal when it should be filtering your blood. It falls behind before the night even starts, and you feel that at 3 a.m. The second is what's actually on the plate. Not the obvious things, the hidden things. Seed oils, soybean, corn, canola, cottonseed are in almost every packaged food on American shelves, including foods marketed as healthy. These oils are highly inflammatory and hard on the liver, especially when consumed daily for years. Then there's sugar in disguise, granola bars, flavored yogurt, salad dressings, whole grain bread, even heart-healthy cereals. Sugar hits the liver harder than most people realize, and after 60, the liver processes it noticeably slower. The third is alcohol tolerance, and this one catches almost every older adult by surprise. The amount of wine or beer that felt fine in your 40s is not the same load on your liver in your 60s. As you age, blood flow to the liver decreases, and the enzymes that break down alcohol slow down. That one glass of wine with dinner is now staying in your system 2 or 3 times longer than it used to. It's not that you're doing more, it's that your liver is doing more with less. The fourth is quiet dehydration. Older adults often lose their sense of thirst, and many drink less water than they did decades ago. The liver needs water to move toxins out. When water is short, toxins recirculate, and they recirculate hardest at night. The fifth is stress you don't even notice anymore. Chronic low-grade worry about health, about family, about money, about the news, keeps cortisol elevated. Elevated cortisol tells the liver to keep dumping sugar into the blood, which keeps insulin elevated, which keeps fat storage active around the liver itself. That is how non-alcoholic fatty liver disease has quietly become one of the most common conditions in Americans over 55, even in people who have never touched alcohol. The sixth is the one that surprises people the most. Sitting. Long hours in a chair, in front of the television, in the car. Movement is what pushes blood through the liver. Stillness lets it stagnate. But there is one more overload, and it is the one almost no one warns seniors about. It's sitting in your medicine cabinet right now. Here is something that should be said clearly, and it almost never is. Nearly every prescription medication you take passes through your liver. That is not an opinion. That is basic pharmacology. The liver is the primary filter for the drugs your doctor prescribes, the pain relievers you buy over the counter, and the supplements you pick up at the pharmacy. And after 60, the average American is taking not 1 or 2 of these, but 4, 5, sometimes 7 or 8 every single day. None of these medications are necessarily wrong. Many of them are keeping you alive. But almost no one in a 15-minute appointment sits down with you and explains what happens when you stack them together, especially at night. So let me do it. Start with acetaminophen, the active ingredient in Tylenol. It is one of the most common causes of acute liver injury in the United States. Not because it's dangerous at normal doses, but because it's in dozens of products people don't realize. Cold medicines, sleep aids, prescription pain combinations. A senior who takes Tylenol for arthritis, then a nighttime cold formula, then a prescription pain reliever, can quietly exceed the safe daily limit without ever knowing. Then there are statins, the cholesterol medications tens of millions of Americans over 55 take every night before bed. Statins are processed heavily by the liver. For most people, they are tolerated well. For some, they add a real overnight load, and they are almost always taken at exactly the wrong hour, right when the liver is trying to begin its detox cycle. Then there are certain blood pressure medications, especially some of the older ones that require significant liver processing. Then there are proton pump inhibitors, the acid reflux pills like omeprazole, which can subtly alter how the liver handles other drugs. Then there are sleep aids and anti-anxiety medications, many of which sit in the liver for hours longer in an older adult than they did in a younger one. Now picture this: dinner at 7:30, statin at 9, blood pressure pill at 9, Tylenol PM at 10 because your knee is aching, off to bed by 10:30. By 1 in the morning, your liver is trying to do its most important work of the day while simultaneously breaking down 4 different medications, plus the fats and sugars from dinner. It cannot keep up. And that is when the cortisol surge comes. And that is when your eyes open at 3 a.m. This is not a message to stop your medications. Please do not do that. Never adjust a prescription without your doctor. But it is a reason to have a real conversation with your doctor about timing, about whether some medications could be moved to morning, about whether every pill in your cabinet is still necessary. Many seniors are on prescriptions they no longer need, simply because no one ever reviewed the list. The good news is that some of the load can be lifted starting tonight, without changing a single prescription. Let me give you something practical. Not a supplement list, not a 10-step protocol you'll forget by Tuesday. Just a small number of real, simple, doable things that take pressure off your liver. The kind of changes a person in their 60s or 70s can actually keep up with. Some of these you can start tonight. Start with dinner timing. If nothing else changes, change this one thing. Try to finish your evening meal by 6:30 or 7 p.m., not 8, not 9. Give your body at least 3 hours of quiet digestion before you lie down. That single shift gives your liver a running start on its overnight work, and many people notice a difference in their sleep within the first week. Next, keep dinner lighter than lunch. This is the opposite of how most Americans eat, and that's exactly the problem. A heavy meal at night means a liver working overtime on food when it should be working on cleanup. A grilled piece of fish or chicken, some vegetables, maybe a small portion of rice or potato. That's plenty. Save the bigger meal for the middle of the day when your body can actually handle it. In the morning, before coffee, before anything else, drink a full glass of warm water. Not cold, warm. Some people add a squeeze of fresh lemon. This simple habit gently flushes the liver after its overnight shift and helps move bile that has been sitting still for hours. It costs nothing. It takes 2 minutes, and it works. Add bitter greens to your meals a few times a week. Arugula, dandelion greens, radicchio, endive. Bitter foods stimulate bile flow, which is exactly what an older liver needs. Your grandparents ate these things regularly. Somewhere along the way, American plates got softer and sweeter, and the liver paid the price. Consider magnesium in the evening, but talk to your doctor first, especially if you're on blood pressure or heart medications. Magnesium glycinate, taken about an hour before bed, helps calm the nervous system and can steady the overnight blood sugar dip that often triggers the 3 a.m. wake-up. Many older adults are quietly deficient in it. Get sunlight on your face within the first hour of waking, 10 to 15 minutes, no sunglasses. This sets your circadian rhythm, and your liver runs on that rhythm as much as your brain does. A well-set body clock means a liver that knows when to work and when to rest. Move gently after meals. A 10-minute walk after dinner does more for your liver than an hour at the gym the next morning. Movement pushes blood through the liver and helps clear sugar from the bloodstream before it becomes fat storage. And finally, be honest with yourself about alcohol. Not judgmental, just honest. If you're waking at 3 a.m. regularly and you're having a drink with dinner most nights, try 2 weeks without it. Just 2 weeks. Many people are stunned by what changes. None of this is dramatic. None of it is expensive. But there is one signal, if you ever see it, that requires more than lifestyle changes. Everything we've talked about so far has been about early signals, whispers, the kind of things you can act on quietly at home without alarm. But there is a point where the whisper becomes a warning, and you need to know exactly what that looks like, because catching it early can change everything. If your 3 a.m. waking is happening alongside any of the following signs, do not wait. Do not tell yourself it will pass. Call your doctor this week and ask specifically for a full liver panel, not just the basic one. Ask about GGT, bilirubin, and a liver ultrasound if needed. The first red flag is yellowing. Look in the mirror in natural daylight. Check the whites of your eyes. Check the skin on your palms. If there is any yellow tint that wasn't there before, that is jaundice, and it means bilirubin is building up because the liver can't clear it. That is not something to watch and wait on. The second is pain, or a persistent dull ache in the upper right side of your abdomen, just under the ribs. Not gas, not indigestion, a deeper, steadier discomfort that keeps coming back. That is the liver itself, and it does not complain unless something is wrong. The third is dark urine that stays dark even when you're drinking enough water. Tea-colored, brownish, or unusually deep amber. Paired with pale, clay-colored stools, that combination is one of the clearest signs that bile is not moving the way it should. The fourth is unexplained weight loss, or a sudden swelling in the belly that feels tight rather than soft. Both can signal that the liver is struggling in a more serious way. The fifth is easy bruising, or small red spots on the skin that appear without any injury. The liver makes the proteins your blood needs to clot. When it slows down, bruises show up out of nowhere. If you see any of these signs, please do not panic. But please do not dismiss them either. Early attention is the difference between a manageable problem and a serious one. The liver is one of the few organs in the body that can heal remarkably well when it is caught in time. It is also one of the most unforgiving when it is ignored for too long. For most of you watching, none of these red flags are present. What's present is the softer signal, the 3 a.m. wake-up, the morning bitterness, the afternoon fatigue. And now you finally know what your body has been trying to say.